Why is the Labour Party not taxing the rich? Hello, my name is Dan Tomlinson and I'm a junior minister in the Treasury. So lots of questions on here I'm going to run through. We'll see if I can answer them all for you. How have you tackled the cost of living? The main thing that the Chancellor did at this budget on the cost of living is she's announced £150 of people's energy bills. She's also frozen prescription charges, frozen rail fares, made sure that if families have got kids, they've got that free childcare offer and also can have free breakfast clubs before schools that are rolling out up and down the country. That's the sort of things that this Labour government's doing to help with the cost of living. How can we trust the government if the budget got leaked early? Well, that leak was nothing to do with the government whatsoever. There's this independent organisation that essentially marks the government's homework at budget time. And somehow, and I don't know how, we don't know how yet, their response to the budget got put on the internet before the Chancellor had even delivered it. They're looking at what happened there, and I think it's really important that they do. Why is the Labour Party not taxing the rich? Under this government, we've increased capital gains tax, we've increased inheritance tax, we're introducing a new high-value council tax surcharge, we've even increased taxes on private jets. We've got credible plans to do that, whereas Zach Polanski, his ideas for this new wealth tax, I don't think it would raise any revenue and it would probably do much more harm than good to our economy. Can you tell me the TLDR on the budget? Yes. Cutting the cost of living with 150 quid off energy bills, cutting NHS waiting lists and cutting government borrowing. Next question, what is austerity? So that's a word that politicians use way too much. Really, the way to think about it is when we had a Conservative government 10, 15 years ago, when they were faced with difficult economic circumstances, they chose to cut public spending. So to slash spending on schools and on hospitals and on the public services that we all rely on. And we are not going to go back to that. Instead, this government is sticking with our plan for more investment and continuing to work to get higher economic growth. Can you explain the Chancellor's fiscal headroom in simple terms, please? The government said when we came in that we would make sure that the government's debt was falling by the end of this decade. Lots of us might have a loan on our credit cards or what have you, and we try and get that debt down. But sometimes it's difficult to do so if we're still paying the interest on it. But what we've said is the government's debt, we are going to get it falling. And the more it's going down in that last year, the bigger the headroom is. And the Chancellor's doubled her headroom at this budget. So she's put it up from around 10 billion to 22 billion pounds. It basically means she's got more space for if things happen in the economy that are unexpected in the year ahead. And that's really very important. What is a Labour budget? What would others have done? Hey, look, that one is really clear because we know what the Conservatives and the Reform would have done. When faced with this economic situation, they would have slashed spending on public services. They would have made it more difficult for us to get appointments with our GP. They would have made it more difficult for our kids to learn in safe and nice classrooms with teachers that are paid fairly. They'd have cut the number of police on our streets. That's not the Labour choice. The Labour choice is investment in our public services and growing our economy too. That's something that they would have never even been able to do. Is this government focused on economic growth? Yes, we are. It's this government's number one focus is getting our economic growth rate up in this country because higher growth means higher living standards for everyday families across the whole of the UK. That's our focus and we're going to keep doing everything we can to make sure that that happens. Right, I'm not sure about this question. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? I think the Tories sitting opposite me in the House of Commons, they sit there like this with their chest puffed out, laughing and chuntering at all the jokes that Kemi Badenoch makes. I feel like they think that they're like great prize stallions or what have you, but in the end, they're just a bunch of quacking ducks